Good evening. A bit later tonight. Getting a message already. Yes, okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Good evening. And it's a little bit later than expected, so might be in the middle of something. I don't presume what you could be in the middle of at 9:30 at night, but you could quite likely be in the middle of something. So I'm just going to do a quick recap of the day, make this one nice and short and sweet. And we start off with Dr. Bandler again, and he is one character and a half. Eddie, Adriana, how are you? Good evening, hope you had an amazing day, or a good day at least. Start off with some trance concentration. I'm not concentrating. And did a lot about language. So if you say a word like concentrate, and then feel where that sits, your body's reaction to that, and you say concentrating, where that sits and how that energizes your system, you'll realize how powerful language is. And I'd forgotten this, really. If I was ever taught it, I don't remember ever being taught it, but how powerful the language we use. And that's why linguistics, neuro-linguistic programming, it's part of the name of the training. So the language we use is much more important than we think, and we just talk unconsciously all the time, which is fine. But that's why some people are able to get better success and maybe feel a little bit happier than someone else. And that's one of the reasons why. And it's a skill that you can practice. Health is a skill that you can learn, and linguistics is a skill that you can learn as well. And anyone that's got good at anything, linguistics, health, fitness, mathematics, whatever it is it's a skill that can be mastered. If it can be mastered by one person, it can be mastered by another. And that's where modeling comes in. So you find out how they do it. It was an interesting story. There was Richard Bandler talking about, he was across the Thames, and there was a guy painting a tree across the water. And he said to the guy, he said it was amazing painting. It was like he picked up that tree, like pulled it out and stuck it on the paper. It was so good. And he said to the guy, how do you paint that way? And he said, well, I don't know, I just do it. And he said, but no, how do you get that image to look like that on the paper? And he said, well, I imagine a big hand. Evening, Brett. Hello, mate. I imagine a big hand over by the tree, by whatever I'm drawing, and there's a wire that goes all the way to my hand. And that's where the detail comes from. I can take every detail from that tree, and that wire connects my hand to the paper, and I can then draw with greater detail. So there's one technique you could try on, and that was that painter's technique. And if you took a group of artists and you found a common thread of technique between them all, you may be able to find a technique, a system, a sequence that works for you in whatever skill or whatever venture, business or hobby, whatever you want to take on. So I did a bit of trance with that, used some really interesting language, and got us into that hypnotic state again, which is what I've been explaining every day, is just relaxation. And then we talked about submodalities, and the best thing about the past is that it is in the past. It's over. And what most of us are doing is actually remembering. We're not actually thinking. And that means we may stand in front of someone, have a business meeting, maybe we're starting a session with a new client, maybe we've got to do a piece of work that needs to be delivered tomorrow, and we're reliving a past memory of something similar, rather than it being a fresh start. So actually most of us are reliving memories rather than thinking about our present, which then can create a different type of future to the past. So that was interesting. And when we took that technique into a swish pattern, so what that is you literally do whoosh, it is that quick. So you snap an image of, you go through a whole process of building up and understanding something you feel negative about, and understand the feeling, which way it's moving, and all of that. And anyone who's trained in NLP will be able to take you through that. And then you push that to one side and you build up the image of something, a resource that could solve that problem or could help you handle that issue, or just makes you feel better, and then you basically whoosh, switch them out quickly. So we did a bit of swishing, which sounds fun, and it is kind of fun when you get better at it. At the moment, you're like, what the hell's going on? But each day gets a little bit more and more involved. And I found myself actually having conversations later in the day and thinking, oh, I was struggling with that earlier, where you're changing context of something and the content of something. Like the guy's daughter comes to him and says, the guy comes to you and says, my daughter is always disagreeing with me. And so you could just go along with that and say, oh, what a terrible nightmare. Wait till she's just past her teens. That's all you need to do. Or you could say, well, that must mean she's very strong-minded. That's a very useful trait to have. So you changed the context of what he was telling you there. And that's called reframing. So you reframe a situation to something more positive, that's more helpful for the person. And that's useful for all of us if we were able to practice, or we was ever taught that. We should be taught this at a young age. Simple as that, really. And then we looked at interesting stuff like function patterns and decision patterns, how people make decisions. Are they an internal and external? Are they fully external as someone who needs reference or feedback from the outside to know where they're at and what they're doing? If it's any good at all, and that's someone who needs constant feedback, constant nurturing to say, you're doing well, you're doing really well, keep going, keep going. And the opposite of that is someone who's internal and they don't need any feedback, and it actually annoys them when you keep telling them, yeah, you're doing a good job. That was really interesting. Yeah, so someone's just saying, learning to reframe my negative self-talk into positive. Yeah, so it's exactly that. You can think of a content where, for instance, you might say my flat is tiny, whereas you could just change the content of that slightly and say, well, the flat's compact. The car salesman and estate agents do this all the time. The car doesn't have a lawnmower for an engine. It's economical. And it just reframes it into a positive light. And what a lot of this is about is just thinking more positively. And I realize how easy it is just to allow a little bit of negativity, and why. Let's just raise the level of thought up a notch to bring about more positivity, more smiles. And then we looked at decision factors. So some people like same, so they buy the same stuff from the same brand, same color. Then they have their style, and that's what they do. And then you could have someone who goes same brand but different color, same brand but different model of car, for instance. So Ford Fiesta or Ford Focus, whatever it may be, Mercedes SLK or Mercedes A-Class, whatever takes your fancy. And then we did chunking, so that's taking information and jumping from it. So I ate a bag of peanuts earlier on, and peanuts jumps all the way. South America, they grow a lot of peanuts in South America. And have you ever been to Portugal? I went traveling to South America, and I went to Portugal and then Australia. So you're jumping all over the planet, literally. Whereas chunking is matching. You can match someone as they jump around, or you can break it down a little bit more. So you go peanuts. The process that they take peanuts through to get them to be dry roasted. Well, that was actually created in South America, and so on and so forth. And you tell a story around that. But it's good, and it's again, that's a new system or sequence for me. So, but I'm already aware of it because I do that with my clients and understand a little bit and how important they are to stay connected with the person you're having a conversation with. So if it's just with someone your partner you're in a relationship with, or it's a client, or someone you just met randomly, you can actually be more effective in your communication with them by using all these little techniques and sequences, and remembering that communication is unconscious. It's you don't think what am I going to say next and how am I going to say. You just have to let it flow, and what comes out comes out. So you learn what you learn, and what goes in, and then you go and have a conversation, forget all about it, and what you're finding is you're actually repeating some of the techniques and actually benefiting from some of the techniques. And for instance, I was talking with someone today, and they said, yeah, I'll be going away, but it's it's going to be, I won't get much sleep because it's going to be a very busy time. And I knew that when they did that I could then say, well, it's going to be really noisy, because if they're looking directly left or directly right, then there's an auditory image or sound that they have to the picture in their head. So I know it's auditory. So I could really get better rapport with them, because they're thinking, yeah, they're understanding what I'm saying. That's a really cool technique, actually. It's so subtle as well. And someone asked me a question today and said, when you get this certain feeling was doing exercise, what happens? And I just instantly, I just went like that. I didn't even feel it. It was unconscious for me. And they said, what did you just think about then? You was recalling an image. And I thought, let me think about it. And I went back and I thought, actually, yeah, I did. And if I was doing that, trying to do that on my own, process it myself, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So you actually need a partner for some of this. You need a coach for some of this to be able to spot it. And the last thing we did, so just finishing off, was timeline. And we all keep our timelines in certain spaces in our head. So try this out. This is a bit of fun. If you close your eyes and think about the past, and that'll be somewhere. Where do you feel that ends up? Is it behind you? Is it on your right side, your left side? Is it in front of you? Wherever it is, different for each person. And then just feel it out. Where's your future? And that'll be somewhere. Let's say, for instance, that's top left and past is bottom right. And then your present will be somewhere in between those two. So now if you pull that into your body and hold the present at the level of your eyes and push the future in front of you and your past behind you. So imagine some boxes that they're in, and you've got the future in front, directly in front of your eyes, and present is in line or inside of your head, and past is behind you. Now, as you open your eyes again, just feel that out. How does that feel? And for me, it feels quite strange because I don't have them there. I don't feel like I have them there. So that's strange for me. So if you close your eyes again and then turn them 90 degrees, so the future goes off to the right-hand side, you've got the present in your head, and then on the left is your past. And then open your eyes, and that could feel slightly strange as well. And don't worry, your future and your past timeline will go back into its perfect state when it's good and ready. So we haven't messed anything up, don't worry. We're just having fun, and we're making it up, really. That's what they say all the time. We're making it up. And I think that is a suggestion where it just relaxes your conscious mind. We say, well, it's made up. Okay, it's just fun. I can relax. And the more relaxed you are, the more having fun, the more fun that you are having, the more you will learn, and the more you enjoy it. And the more you enjoy it, the more you'll learn, and the more you'll remember. Because we always remember bad times, but when we really had a good time and was laughing and really enjoying it, you can really remember all of that in vivid detail, colour and feeling, and there's much more feeling, happy feeling. So we're also happy to remember it. So that's why we remember more of it. Stuff we're not so happy about, we kind of avoid, don't we? Or maybe you don't anymore. And you go through all of it and learn from it. So it's all made up, that's what they keep saying. So you just stay relaxed, stay cool, enjoy it all. And that's it. There's 2 more days left. I hope it's been a helpful little recap. Play around with some thoughts in your head, but make sure they are positive. And I'd love to talk with, thanks Adriana, I'd love to talk with you more and share some more techniques that I know and that I pick up along the way. And hope to see you and speak to you all again very, very soon. Have an amazing evening. Remember, because really now you could never forget that health is a skill that you could learn, and this is a better way to bring out your personal best. Now let's all go get healthy, and let's take the world with us. Bhavna, nice to meet you today, and we shall talk more tomorrow for sure. IQs and expressions, yes, definitely will be. Looking all over the place, I know. Accessing all different, looking for information. I will watch it back, and maybe we can have a look at it tomorrow, and you can show me some things that I may have missed. It's because I told our story just a moment ago. You might have seen it. All right. Oh, great. From Mallorca, Adriana. Lovely. I hope you get some lovely weather. It got cold here this evening, um, which isn't such a bad thing. But enjoy Mallorca. And guys, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. And when you go to sleep tonight, you'll have the most peaceful, relaxing sleep that you have ever had in a long, long time. See you tomorrow.